Coming up a little bit later on, our buddy Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports will join us, get his thoughts on NBA playoffs and the baseball slate. But in just a minute here, we'll chat with Andrew Stetka. I think he's recovered from his back waxing last week. He will give us his Stets and Figures. If there's one thing I need you to learn, we need to don't fade music the way that Paul does, Griffin. We got to do better at fading. It's not new. You've been doing this forever. Yes, I've said it 3 times in the last week. Yeah. No, it was not. Anyway, the moral of the story being that we got all that coming up on the show. We fade the music. So when you're doing something, just pull it down and fade it out. All right, joining us now for his Stets and Figures, he is our buddy Andrew Stetka, and he's with us on Weekend at Bookies. Have you recovered from the back waxing, sir?
I mean, I'm not sure what that means. I got all the wax off of me. I did have to use olive oil, but yes, it's all off.
The pain was what I was referring to.
The pain was more in the immediacy. There was no lingering pain. Right. There was certainly a pain in the immediacy.
Well, thank you for the strong sell. I appreciate that, pal. Really appreciate that you came in and you were a showman, and you sold it well. And,
I'm sensing sarcasm on your point.
No, I actually think you did. I think you did a fine job. I think you did a fine job of selling it.
I have to be honest with you. There wasn't much that I had to sell. It was painful.
All right. How did Mrs. Stetka react to the back waxing?
I mean, about as lukewarm as you could. She asked if I wanted her to even it out because really there's just a stripe down the middle that is fully waxed. Other than that, it was.
Did you take her up on her offer?
No, I'm just gonna.
Were you gonna leave it like that?
I mean, it's really not that bad.
Oh, for God's sakes!
The amount of waxing that actually got done back there is limited.
So what you're saying is we need to do it again. You have to fly back across because we didn't do a good enough job. So you have to fly back across the country so we can finish finish this process of waxing your back.
No, I think we're good. I think we're good on all of that.
Fair enough. All right, Andrew. He did pay off his debt to us. He also did send the video of him singing Hero because we completely forgot about that last Friday. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, things got a little carried away.
Yeah, things did. Things got a little out of control. All right, let's get into it. Stets and Figures for this week. Of course, it's PGA Championship week this week. Your last round of Stets and Figures were not perfect, to say the least.
Yeah, I think we lost 2, but we did pick up another win on a soccer parlay.
Yes, the soccer parlays have gone well. You almost think that you should do nothing but soccer parlays.
Yeah, well, it is kind of my wheelhouse. I think I'm 5-0 so far in soccer parlays.
You've got a couple of PGA Championship bets that are still out that we will see how they play out. But missed out particularly on that Suns Heat parlay. Did not go so well for you.
Yeah, missed out on the Suns long-term bet as well. They really they let all of us down.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, jerk. All right.
Yeah, it's my fault.
What's the first one this week?
Well, we're going to go to the Oriole game today, which comes up here shortly. So get your bets in. But I really like the under 8 runs at -104 in the Yankees-Orioles game today. The Orioles have a lot of trouble against sinkers, and that's what Jordan Montgomery specializes in. And frankly, Bruce Zimmerman has some decent success against much of the Yankees lineup as well. It's a getaway day. I like this to be a low-scoring affair today between the Yankees and Orioles, so I'm going to take the Yankees-Orioles game under 8 runs at -104.
I feel like I had a whole conversation, not with you, I think it was with Brad, about getaway days and unders and just the value of the fact that teams want to leave. Now, I do think it's different when teams are traveling significant distances versus the Orioles who are at home for another 3 days.
Sure.
So I just don't know I just wish that I had more data about that. At some point, I'm going to dive in on that. Because in general, the theory I agree with, that you just get to a weird afternoon game. You had to be up early this morning. You didn't get a full day to prep for the game. That you just sort of in a place where you're like, let's just get this the hell over with already.
Well, and with this one, it goes to the pitching matchup as well. You got 2 lefties on the mound. There's an element of the pitching matchup involved in this one as well. And obviously, if you expect anyone to be able to hold down the Yankee bats of Oriole pitchers, it would be Zimmerman at this point.
By the way, the number is dipped to 8. Even.
Yeah, that's what I said, 8.
Oh, I thought you said 8.5.
Yeah, under 8.
All right, under 8. Under 8, very good. Under 8 is the number. All right, next one. Stets and Figures.
We're going to go to hockey. I haven't really touched a lot of hockey this playoff season, but I caught a little bit of that Blues Avalanche game in Game 1. Went to overtime, obviously, but that was.
I hope you bet
really...
the over on the Calgary game last night.
Well, yeah, that was
Jesus
insane
Christ.
last night. Was far away from that one, trust me. But the Avalanche really dominated that game. They had a total of 54 shots on St. Louis. The only thing that stopped that from being a blowout was Jordan Binnington in goal for the Blues. They won pretty much every category you could think of. The Avs did: faceoffs, hits, scoring chances. They really dominated despite it being an overtime game. They even outshot the Blues 13-0 in overtime. And they're a really good home team as well. They're 32-5-4 at home on the season. That's why I have value for Game 2 tonight in the Avalanche on the puck line at -1.5. You get it at +104. I'm not saying the Blues are going to get blown away in this series or anything. I still think they can win a few games, especially when they get back home to St. Louis. But the Avs are such an offensively dominant team. And the thing that's kind of nice about hockey too, if you're betting a team -1.5, if they've got the one goal lead late in the game, you know the other team's pulling the goalie, and there's always a chance for an empty netter to cover your 1.5 goal spread. So with the value at +104, I like the Avs -1.5 on the puck line tonight.
A couple of thoughts. One, the Avalanche are the most loaded team. I mean, it's insane, right? Like they're just bonkers loaded. The lines in hockey, you can almost never have it being smaller than 1.5 because you have to build in for the idea that there could be an empty net goal at the end of the game. If it's a 1-goal game, team pulls their goalie, then they're going to score an empty net goal, which makes this a little bit tricky, right? Because to your point, you can dominate a game and yet still have it be a 1-goal game. I mean, my God, the Game 7 between Calgary and Dallas, I want to say Calgary outshot Dallas something like 80-20 or something. It was nuts, right? But it still ended up in overtime just because the goalie for Dallas stood on his head. In your theory, I 100% agree with. I just really find it difficult to bet puck lines in hockey. Like
it is tough, but again, if you're getting plus odds on it, the value for me on that is there. And you're right, Jordan Binnington could stand on his head again.
Right.
He's been very good in these playoffs, but after having to stop over 50 shots the other night, I think the value is there to bet the Avs. You know, you could bet the Avs on the money line, but you're not going to get the plus odds. I think that there's value at least in betting them on the puck line.
All right, I'm with you. He is Andrew Stetka. By the way, I continue to ride the Lightning. I've been doing that since the playoffs started, and it's paid out well for me.
That's a weird turn of phrase.
Yeah, I know, right? I just came up with it. I don't know if I can get it trademarked or not, but I'm going to continue to ride the Lightning.
You might have trouble there.
Why? I don't understand. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, the moral of the story being, let's move on. We're in the middle of Stets and Figures. Andrew Stetka is with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Where are we headed to next?
Let's go back to the NBA. I am all in on the Celtics to win the series against the Heat. And this is kind of already played out following Game 1, how I thought it would. I waited to bet the Celtics to win this series until after Game 1 because I fully expected them to lose Game 1 coming off a physical series against the Bucks. You were going to have to bet the Celtics as a favorite if you bet them before Game 1. Now you can get them at +125 to win the series from down a game. They're +138 in Game 2 if you want to go that route. And I'm not saying that they're going to win tonight in Game 2. I still think they have full capability to even drop tonight and fall down 2-0 in the series and win this series. I'm very confident in the Celtics defense getting it together, even though they've been a little bit shorthanded here with some injuries, like I said, coming off of that physical series against the Bucks. But the Celtics, it's kind of hard to remember. In Game 1, they had a 13-point lead. And the fatigue just, from that 7-game series against the Bucks just kind of kicked in. And that's exactly what I expected to happen. I did not expect Boston to be able to go into Miami in Game 1 and steal that one. I fully think they can steal Game 2, but I'm betting them over the long term to win this series at +125.
So a couple of things there. One, it looks like Marcus Smart is going to be back for tonight, but Al Horford will not. He's still doubtful for Game 2. What I would agree with you about is I like the Celtics coming into the series, and so I probably wouldn't waver on that just because they lost Game 1 without Horford and Smart on the floor. I wouldn't waver on whether or not I like them in the series. as long as Al Horford's going to be back by Game 3, I'm probably in agreement with you. Now, if they win this game tonight and then they lose Game 3 and then he's back by Game 4, like, you can kind of figure all those things out.
Exactly.
I just have a little bit of a hiccup waiting on Al Horford right now, and it's I don't know what it is because it's apparently it's an illness. It's not an injury, correct?
Yeah.
I
I hear what you're saying on Al Horford. I think they can still.
I don't know. He was really critical to them winning the last series against a depleted Milwaukee team. Like they needed.
He was critical in like one of the games.
Well,
he had that one game where
they only win the one game because of him. Yes, but he was pretty critical throughout.
So regardless of Horford's status, tonight or Game 3 or 4, I'm still confident in Boston as a whole. I think that their defense can find ways because Miami has Jimmy Butler. They've got some pieces, but they don't have the full collection of a team that I think can sustainably score against Boston. Boston's defense going back to, really to January has been one of the best, if not the best in the NBA. So I think that it will come through. As they say, here's what I'm going to trademark. Defense wins championship.
Where'd you,
Boston.
Did you just come up with that on your own? That's amazing.
Exactly. I'm going to trademark that one. Boston has defense, and that's what I think is going to carry them to win this series. And again, if you waited until after Game 1, a game that I did not expect them to win, you can get them at plus 125, which I like a lot.
All right. Very good. And finally, your final Stets and figure for the week.
Well, I'm not going to shy away from soccer.
You've done quite well. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, we're going to go back to a soccer bet. We're going to veer a little bit away from. Of course, this weekend is the final weekend of the Premier League season, but I'm going to veer away.
I believe it's known as Decision Day.
I think that's what they call it in MLS. I don't think they have a fancy name.
I believe I believe that's been used before. I believe.
Okay.
That's that I'm not making that up.
Well, there's not a lot of value to find on the Premier League slate for this weekend. There's a couple games to make up games that they have to get in today as well, and then Sunday is the final day of the season. So I'm going to go to the Champions League final, which is to be contested next Saturday. I really think that Real Madrid has what it takes to lift the cup. I have them at plus 135 to win. Now, you can get Real Madrid to win in the 90 minutes at plus 240, but I'm not 100% sure it's going to happen that way. I think it may take extra time or even penalties. So I'm just going to stick with Real Madrid plus 135 to win. Karim Benzema has been the best player in the Champions League this season. He's scoring like crazy. Real Madrid has also had the benefit of being able to coast to their title in La Liga a little bit, whereas Liverpool, they're still battling to the end of the day, last day of the season on Sunday to perhaps maybe have a chance at overtaking Manchester City for the Premier League title. They've also had some injury issues. Mo Salah has been away. He's expected back for the final, but there's a few question marks surrounding Liverpool. These two teams, of course, met in the 2018 Champions League final with Madrid winning. I think we get a repeat of that next Saturday for this season, and I think Real Madrid, they won 13 in their history. I think they lift their 14.
You think I don't know that off the top of my head? No, I have no idea. So I want to make this very clear. You're betting them not to win, but to lift the cup.
Yeah, there's a difference in that, obviously, because as we know with soccer bets, if you just bet the regular line, Liverpool would be plus 105, a draw would be plus 260, and Real Madrid would be plus 240. That's for the 90 minutes. But obviously in a cup final, if the teams are tied after 90 minutes, it's going to go to 30 minutes of extra time, and then if they're still tied, it would go to penalty kicks. So I'm betting on Real Madrid to lift the cup, to win the Champions League, not in particular to win it in the 90-minute time frame. You get better odds if you bet it there, but I'm going to bet them at plus 135 just to win the cup.
I only say this because let's just say hypothetically you might have known a guy who bet Italy to win the Euro a couple years ago and was waiting for that money to go back into his account and kept looking for it and looking for it and looking for it.
And couldn't find it?
And couldn't find it and said, what in the F is going on here? And maybe sought out somebody who said, "Oh no, you didn't win." And I said, "No, I did. They won. I'm not sure. I don't know what you're missing here. They won." And they were like, "No, they didn't." And I was like, "Well, I'll be damned because I could have sworn I saw them winning." And I had to go through this. Yeah, I had to go through this lesson. So you're not betting. You're specifically betting them to lift the cup. is literally how the bet is written.
There's a different bet there with different odds that you need to hit, and that is why I make that distinction, because I've heard that tale before of the Italy bet. So I didn't want you to make that same mistake.
It's extraordinarily stupid. It's extraordinarily stupid, and it's something that the betting people should probably do a better job of explaining. And I have made that statement a few times. I'm not.
Well, as the betting people that you're asking here, that's why I've explained it.
Yes.
I'm here to save you.
Betting Real Madrid at plus 148 to lift the cup at the
35,
end.
I think.
What's it?
135.
It's definitely not. It's definitely 148. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, well, then it's moved. So then I'll take the better odds. 148. It was 135 when I checked it.
148 to lift the cup in the UEFA Champions League final next Saturday.
Next Saturday,
Memorial Day weekend. I miss it when it was the middle of the week. That always made me happy because I would skip class and hang out and pretend like I cared. It was always a very fun day for me. All right, Andrew Stetka, at @Stetka on Twitter is how people can follow you. Anything else I can plug for you, my friends?
I don't believe so. I think that's it.
Very good. Thank you, buddy. We will talk to you in 2 weeks, all right?
All right, cheers.
It's Andrew Stetka with his Stets and Figures for this week here on Weekend at Bookies. Appreciate him doing that. Yes, even if somebody hangs up, you still have to go through the process, Griffin. We're gonna get you there. I promise. We just gotta be more active, more involved, sharper, crisper, a harder, better, faster, stronger. I believe is what we're looking for. Just got to be more on the ball. All right, when we come back in, we will catch up with our buddy Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports. We will find out his thoughts on both the NBA playoffs as well as the baseball slate. That's coming up next. Don't forget, anything coming up this month, all the big events, the place to be is the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, including for that UEFA Champions League final between Liverpool and Real Madrid. Reserve your spot right now by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. This is Weekend at Bookies.
Hey, O's fans, break out the orange and black to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Watch the O's take on the Tampa Bay Rays May 20th through the 22nd. Get to the yard early on May 20th when the first 10,000 fans 15 and over will receive a 30th anniversary tumbler presented by Masson. A variety of ticket options are available, including the Orioles Flexible Ticket Bank, Kids Cheer Free, and more. Visit Orioles.com/tickets to find a ticket option that's right for you.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson profiles Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, diving into where his passion for baseball and for catching comes from and how he uses that passion to elevate those around him in the Orioles organization. Also inside, Bo Smolka takes a look at how the Ravens' 2021 draft picks can make progress in year 2, and Glenn Clark offers a very unique tribute to former rival Mike Krzyzewski that all Maryland fans can appreciate. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people, people like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets with Glenn Clark and Paul Valley every Tuesday morning at 11:40. Fanduel Sportsbook GM Bruce Billick and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and even a few winners. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday at 11:40 a.m. Brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Baseball is back, and so is the spring seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash-fried pork belly with our popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and take a bite out of the Crunch Burger, topped with home run sauce, white American cheese, and house-made chips. It also features irresistible options like a baseball-cut sirloin with blue cheese, grilled shrimp with garlic butter, and a strawberry salmon salad. And then there's the closer, the Cracker Jack Sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be gone at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. GloryDaysGrill.com to find out more. Great food, good sports.
We can't imagine why you'd want to, but you can watch GCR live. It's at Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And try to guess whether these guys are wearing any pants.
Well, you're actually listening to Weekend at Bookies right now, brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. And every time we do this, which is every other Thursday, we like to check in with a friend of ours. Of course, the man behind Alloy Sports. He is our buddy Brad Kronthal, and he's with us now here on Weekend at Bookies. Brad, what's going on, bud? How are you?
Doing well, Glenn. How you doing? Getting ready for some afternoon baseball here in Baltimore. It's going to be a great day.
All right, so let's go through what were you guys working on basketball-wise for this week? Because we've sort of narrowed things down. We're in the conference finals. What was the strategy that you guys had in play this week with Alloy Sports?
Yep, absolutely. We've been tracking the NBA quite hard, and now we're getting closer and closer to the NBA finals, now in the conference finals. So the strategy we built this week is, we call it the quality over quantity strategy. It's hit 61% of the time this year, return on investment of 18%. And really, we did a little bit of reverse psychology for the strategy. So we built it off two stats of 3-point attempts per game and free throw attempts per game. But we're looking at the team coming in with the lower value. So more so making the most of your 3-point and free throw attempts versus just taking more of those. We filtered in looking at home teams and teams coming off a loss for our results. So one thing that you notice when you're building some strategies now as we get late into the playoffs, you're not always going to have a game populate each night. There's only, really one game a night when we have that. So it's okay when you don't have games populate for a specific strategy. That's just because there's not many games left.
I mean, that's a very good point. There are not many games left. So with that in mind, how's this strategy been paying off so far this week?
Yeah, so this strategy, like I said, it's hit 61% on the year. There's no projection for this week. I can go back, though, to a strategy that we ran a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And that's hit 60% of the time for the spread and about 65% on the money line. We called it our get out and run strategy. And this strategy took into account fast break points, 2-pointers made, and points off turnovers, teams that take advantage of the fast break opportunities and turnovers. So that game, it's hit twice. We're looking at the Heat tonight at -3.5 on the spread. That's hitting at about 59% with a 16% return on investment, or the money line, like I said, is hitting 64, 65% this season. So it likes the Heat again to win game 2 at -3.5, which is where I'm seeing the lines at FanDuel right now.
Just a question for you, Brett. How do your guys' strategies, can they take into play at all what's going on? Like with the Celtics aren't going to have Al Horford again tonight. Like, is there any way to factor those things in when you build a strategy?
Yeah, so right now as we launch for the NBA, our initial offering, one thing you definitely want to make sure you do is check that injury report. We don't have that factored in when you're building out these stat-based solutions. So one thing, the best thing that I do when I'm building a strategy, I'm putting in my metrics, my stats, I'm putting in my filters, I'm seeing my results, and then I'm going to the injury list and see who's out tonight, who's probable, who's questionable, and monitoring that game over game. So tonight, the Celtics are expected to get Marcus Smart back.
Yep.
Hopefully that would help them contain Jimmy Butler, who just went off in game 1. But, yeah, no Horford. So that's something you also want to account for. And, again, betting's not a perfect science, but what we're allowing you to do really quickly and simply with the data is build strategies that you think are important with factors that, you find as important. So, and we give you the back-tested results, and we tell you what games, you should be looking for that night if they fit it.
Did you guys have a feel for what was going to happen last night? How did it go last night with the Golden State-Dallas game?
Yeah, it's funny. So we've got about 16 really good strategies now that we have saved up. Just going through the list, most of them had the Warriors winning and covering the spread. So, it was kind of funny. It wasn't much of a sweat in that game.
Yep.
We were talking to a few other people that have built strategies with us. They all like the Warriors as well. So some of these games can really get testy. Some people had the Celtics a few nights ago, so they were pretty hot in the first half and then, got pretty miserable in the second half. But
yeah,
that's just kind of how it goes, because with our platform, you're able to build strategies, like I said, that you find important, and friends might have dueling strategies with teams that are completely on the other end of the spectrum.
All right, he's Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports, and he's with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Brad, let's shift. Let's move to the baseball slate. As you mentioned, we got some weekday baseball this afternoon here in Baltimore. I remember I've got this theory, and I was just talking about this with Stetka a second ago. Getaway days begat low numbers. They beget unders, and I don't know if we can build that into a strategy somehow with Alloy Sports, but I am a believer in that. Do you think I am on to something when betting unders when it comes to getaway day afternoon baseball games?
There is certainly something to be said about that. I've thought about that the last week or two since you first mentioned that, and there's definitely, players are human, right? So they're trying to get on the bus, get on the plane as quickly as they can. If they're winning, they want to get in and out. They're throwing more strikes. They're swinging more to contact. I've seen it from working in the baseball business at Masson, so I definitely think there's something to that.
Sometimes they've got dinner plans, man. Like, sometimes they're actually planning on doing something with their evening because they know they've got an afternoon game. They're like, we don't want to do it. Let's go. Let's get on with it. I want to get out of the ballpark and be able to go see some people. Something along those lines. All right, so tell me what jumps out at you in looking at today's baseball slate.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start in Baltimore, Yankees, Orioles. And I'm not 100% confident, but I'm going to go off what you were thinking, and I'm kind of feeling the same way. I like the under 8 in this game. You got two left-handed pitchers. Left field is like hitting it out of center field in the Polo Grounds this year with that wall moved back. I mean, guys are hitting it 400-some feet. That's hitting the wall.
Yep.
The Yankees are hitting just 231 against left-handed pitching. The Orioles are hitting 214 with only a 604 OPS. If right-handers are pulling the ball, they're not hitting home runs. Yankees can hit the heck out of the ball, though. So we'll see how that goes. Bruce Zimmerman's been really effective this year. Montgomery going for the Yankees. Getaway day, I'm going to go with you, Glenn. I'm liking the under for the Orioles Yankees.
This is really nervous because you, myself, and Andrew Stetka are all on the under, so I'm a bit nervous that we're getting into reverse lock territory now. That like if there's this much agreement, there's no way that it can work out. But yeah, I think it's the safe bet, and I get it. The Orioles are staying home. Whenever we do this math, you and I at some point have to sit down and do this math and figure out if there really is something to this. I do still think that there would be a slight difference for a team that is staying home versus a team that's traveling great distance, but it's the same bit that we were just talking about a second ago. Even the players that are staying home, they're thinking about getting a Thursday night to themselves, and they don't get many of those during the course of the year. So I even think those players that are staying home are trying to get the game over with as well. So that just jumps out at me. All right, what else do you see as you look at the baseball slate?
Yeah, I'm looking at Cardinals and Mets. Dakota Hudson, Chris Bassett. Bassett's been awesome. The Mets have been awesome. I like the Cardinals against the spread today at +1.5.
Okay.
On the run line. They're 15-4 against the spread as away underdogs in their last 19 games. The Mets won last night. The Cardinals keep it close. They got a good lineup. They're solid. They don't strike out too much. Bassett's been great, but I think on the day game, I think this one's going to be a little bit closer. Either the Cardinals take the win in the game, or they keep it within that one-run spread there.
Interesting. You don't think they were broken by the Baltimore Orioles last week? You don't think that psychologically wrecked them last week, losing 2 or 3?
I know I was, Glenn, having watched those games. Like, oh my God, we got defense.
Oh yeah. Oh, there was a lot of that
showing out.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go. The Orioles. This might be that little turnaround, and then you bring up your Rutschman and your Grayson.
Oh yeah.
Then,
yeah. Well. Anyway,
and then suddenly.
So what you're saying is it really was the Orioles that were broken by winning 2 of 3 against the St. Louis Cardinals. That's really played out there.
I'm saying Brad Kronthal was.
Yeah, I mean a lot of us were. You got more for the baseball slate today?
Yeah, one last game. I'm looking at Phillies at home against the Padres. I like the Phillies on the first 5 money line. Fanduel's got it at -110. Darvish has really been terrible on the road this year. He's got a 7.91 road ERA, a 3.13 opponent average. Contrast that with Kyle Gibson's been great at home this year. He's got a 1.93 ERA, a 0.7 WHIP at home. And the Phillies are getting hot. They played really, really well against the Dodgers. They're 5-2 in their last 7. Home game. They're going for the series. They're in second place in the NL East. They're trying to get to 500. I like the Phillies to win this game, but more importantly, from a starter's perspective, when you're betting on the first 5, it's really betting on those starters and then some offense to back it up. So I like the Phillies first 5 money line at -110.
All right, very good. Remind everybody about what Alloy Sports is doing.
Yep, so Alloy Sports, we're a sports betting research platform. We just launched for the NBA playoffs in April. We're gearing up for the NFL. Get on, sign up, test it out. We're making improvements every day, and it's a really powerful tool. It's really cool. Been able to win a lot of money for our team in the NBA season, just data-driven and based off your intuition, so you can really see in real time, what clicks and what doesn't.
Again, alloysports.com is the website, and you can also follow them on Twitter at Alloy Sports. And Brad, remind everybody where they can follow you.
You can follow me at _Kronthal on Twitter, but definitely want to follow Alloy Sports. They got way more better content on the mothership Twitter handle.
Give them a follow for sure. All right, Brad, appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Glenn. Have a great weekend.
Brad Kronthal, Alloy Sports, checking in with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Going over. We got to, at some point, we got to do the research on the getaway day thing, because I am convinced that is a thing. I am convinced that that's a whole deal. Now, we need the final ever preposterous prop. What was your last preposterous prop?
So my last preposterous prop
Yeah.
I took in the USFL, the Birmingham Stallions.
That was the last one? I thought there was one between those two.
No, that was 2 weeks
That was the last one? All right.
Over the Tampa Bay Bandits. I believe the line was 3.5.
Yeah.
-3.5 for the Stallions, and the over was over 41.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I took them to cover and hit the over. They covered. They won by 6.
Mm-hmm.
But they did not hit the over. For the final score was 16-10.
Just another brilliant football game that the USFL has offered to us this season.
It's the only team they haven't really blown out this year.
This is your final one.
So the final one, it's not a crazy prop. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but I wanted to do something that we could see if it hit by tomorrow.
Okay.
So in today's game, Orioles-Yankees, I'm taking the prop or the parlay of Austin Hayes to hit a home run and the Baltimore Orioles to win.
Oh.
At +800.
Oh.
It was, when I first saw it, it was at +850, went up to +900, and currently it's at +800. Austin Hayes for his career is better against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching, 268 to 266. But this year, against right-handed pitching, he's hitting 341, and against left-handed pitching, he's hitting 177 with no home runs.
Right.
Going up against the lefty, I think he's going to get his first home run against the lefty today.
Oh,
he's been their best hitter
bold
all year. I think he's going to hit the home run, and the Orioles are going to win.
Austin Hayes home run, Orioles win at +800. It is so they list out all of the various options for parlaying an Orioles win or either team winning. They call it a match winner and home run parlay bet. The first 8 all involve the Yankees winning.
Yeah.
So that's actually your best odds that you can get of an Orioles player hitting a home run and the Orioles winning. You can get Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, Higashioka, and Hicks, and Marwin Gonzalez, and LeMahieu. You can get all of them. And then you finally get the one that involves the Orioles winning, and that's the Austin Hayes one. Then Anthony Santander also at 8-1. So goes to show you what they think is going to happen today.
Yep.
But I like it. I like it. It's bold, and we'll find out tomorrow. Very good.
Are getting stronger, and they're starting to play some better baseball again now that they're getting healthier. So we'll see.
Yeah, that still hasn't translated in results.
Yeah, but
it still hasn't.
Right now are the best.
I hear you, man. I hear you. All right. Don't forget, the best place to be for all of the events, all the playoff games, the Indianapolis 500, the Champions League final, the Gervonta Davis, Rolando Romero fight, every event this month, the place you want to be is the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel with those 61 self-service kiosks. You can get all your bets in while you're there. Reserve your spot for any of those events by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. That's events@sportssocialmd.com. Thank you to Brad Kronthal. Thank you to Andrew Stetka. Thank you to you guys for joining us. For Griffin and Paul, I'm Glenn. This has been Weekend at Bookies. May the odds be ever in your favor.